CTV News at 11:30 with Ian Campbell and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for staying up with us. We begin tonight in North Bay with the rescue of an elderly man who had to be saved after fire tore through his home last night. Crews scrambled to Cedar Heights Road West in the city's northwest end. When firefighters arrived, the house was fully engulfed in flames. Crews assisted the man out of the home and he was not hurt. However, 2 cats did die in the fire. The elements and no nearby fire hydrant did create some challenges for firefighters.
There are hydrants. It's almost a kilometer away, but we were able, after some water shuttling, to use a hydrant. Again, it's a 1,200 feet of high vol. It's a lot of work just to get that set up. That did help us, but at that point, structure was compromised.
Crews estimate the home to be a loss. A heavy police presence today on Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie. Police say they were responding to calls of gunfire in the area around 9:45 this morning. An investigation is underway. CTV News has reached out to investigators for more information. 2 teens from the GTA are among the 4 arrested following a drug bust in Sagamok early Friday morning. The investigation into a home in the First Nation began back in October. As a result of search warrants, Anishinaabeg police say they seized fentanyl, 3 cell phones, more than $10,000 in cash, and 1 expandable baton. A 39-year-old Sagamok male was also arrested and rushed to hospital over suspected opioid consumption. The area MPP sounding off against issues involving the Near North District School Board tonight. In a statement, Parry Sound Muskoka's Graydon Smith writes in part, its continued inability to follow directives from the Ministry of Education, along with its lack of effort to address the legitimate concerns of parents and students in Parry Sound, is deeply troubling. Near North has been under fire from those in the community, parents and the ministry over its inability to complete the new school in Parry Sound on time. Smith goes on to write he is urging Minister of Education Paul Calandra to appoint a supervisor as quickly as possible to take control of the school board. Calandra now has the power to do so following the passing of Bill 33, which received royal assent on Friday. A warning from OPP about a social media challenge trending online. The door kick challenge is happening in the Timiskaming and Kirkland Lake areas, and officers are urging people to stop. This challenge sees people forcefully kick or strike the door of a home while recording the act and then posting it on social media. Police add the door kicking can cause significant property damage and scare people inside the home. Participating in this fad can lead to charges under the criminal code, including break and enter, mischief to property, causing a disturbance, and trespassing.
It may seem not very serious and may seem to be a prank, but it really is a criminal offense when you're damaging property or you're potentially opening doors by kicking or pushing doors open.
Police are encouraging parents to speak to their kids about the consequences and the potential danger of confronting homeowners. Federal NDP leadership candidate Heather McPherson met with 6 nonprofit representatives to hear the concerns today about Sudbury's most vulnerable. As CTV's Madison Merrier explains, McPherson hopes to bring what she learned here to Parliament Hill.
This is an important community for New Democrats. We are the party for workers, and Sudbury is a working town. So for me, it was very important that I took the time to come to Sudbury to speak to people in Sudbury about the issues that are facing them, the concerns that they have.
McPherson is the 2nd NDP candidate to come to Sudbury behind Rob Ashton, but also in the running is Tennille Johnson, Avi Lewis, and Tony McQuail.
The fact that we don't have any NDP MPs in Ontario is very problematic to be able to be heard in the House of Commons on a different perspective. And so I really think that every candidate should be coming through to see what is going on here in the North, and I'm sure they all will.
A housing roundtable occurred today highlighting the community group's concerns regarding affordable housing for the growing unhoused population.
Our provincial government doesn't believe or invest in people who are poor. The rates of OW certainly attest to that. There's no way for them to get out of that situation.
There's a lot of I don't know where else to send you. $730 is nothing. They can't afford a room. $1,000 and up for a room.
Listening to everything you're saying, I mean, the first step in our plan is to declare a national housing emergency, because that helps us mobilize funds, because that helps us mobilize resources to deal with it at the scale.
McPherson says she plans to address Parliament regarding the housing concerns that were brought up at the Sudbury Roundtable before the NDP leadership debate in just a few days.
To see that she follows through on that, and eager to know that the government will hear again from some advocates on what the issues are and the pressing nature of those needs having to be met.
Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
With time running out to access provincial emergency encampment funding, plans to relocate the living space shelter in Timmins have gained steam this week. City officials say a site selection team is reviewing potential locations. CTV's Lydia Chubak reports.
Timmins Mayor Michelle Boileau, who also chairs the Cochrane District Services Board, says a team comprised of staff and community partners is out looking for a new location for the living space shelter and a permanent encampment area.
They'll be scoring different sites based on a predetermined matrix in order to be able to come back to the board with a recommendation.
Boileau says with the provincial approval window narrowing, the hope is to have a lease agreement in place before the end of the calendar year. Councillor Steve Black says the province will have the final say when it comes to how Timmins uses the $3.2 million that's earmarked for the establishment of a permanent encampment.
The final plan is always subject to provincial approval, so it's on the table, I believe, but they have to be in agreement that the final selection and the operation of the site aligns with what the original submission and award of funding was for. So it does have a provincial approval mechanism within that process.
Officials would not share locations at this time, but say they have potential, and new property owners are coming on board daily. Black says the goal is for the property to be located outside residential zones.
Not to say, that there won't be any house nearby, whatever the selected facility is or what that offset distance may be, but the goal is to put it in a non-residential area.
The mayor says they're trying to be open to different configurations, and at this time, the plan would allow tents.
So right now, we're trying not to be too prescriptive, because we don't want to be limiting sites that might have some potential.
Boileau says the $3.2 million would come from the province's emergency response initiative and is only for capital costs and does not include operational expenses. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
Council has directed city staff in Sault Ste. Marie to come up with a social media policy. It comes on the heels of an integrity commissioner's report that found Councillor Angela Caputo did not violate sections of the Code of Conduct while making comments about Charlie Kirk. Caputo made reference to the controversial Conservative in one section by writing, "Charlie Kirk would have condoned what happened to Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk was not afraid to say that. Stop making it seem otherwise." 4 citizens made complaints to the integrity commissioner, one of them saying her comments amounted to hate speech and racism. While the integrity commissioner cleared her, councillors Kanak and Bruni tonight in their motion told colleagues the need for a policy was clear.
A social media policy shouldn't be something we need to debate in 2025. Professional, respectful online conduct should be a given. But the lack of clarity has created confusion, and unfortunately, we've seen examples where clear guidelines could have prevented the issues.
I think we wasted 15 minutes of our time tonight. And I think this social media policy is required, and hopefully we can introduce it very, very quickly.
The vote was unanimous. Staff will now have to report back to council. The City of Greater Sudbury is making changes to how ice time is booked at city-owned arenas. According to a staff report headed to committee this week, more than 24,000 hours of ice time is booked at the 14 city arenas. The report comes after meetings with rink users over the summer, which raised questions about ice time allocations. The review discovered AAA hockey was allocated more hours than Hockey Canada guidelines, and some organizations were providing inflated registration numbers, allowing them to gain extra ice time. Changes include requiring governing bodies to submit the registration numbers and ensuring girls AAA hockey gets the same access to ice time in the city. At Queen's Park today, a controversial piece of housing legislation was passed, despite vocal opposition from those in the gallery. They're concerned that the new law could make evictions easier and take away the ability of tenants to defend themselves. CTV's Siobhan Morris reports.
An eruption of anger inside the Ontario legislature, with screams raining down on politicians from the galleries above as they voted on Bill 60, legislation that includes controversial changes for renters.
You're putting people on the streets!
From his seat, the Premier yelled back for that demonstrator to get a job.
It's totally unbecoming of the office of the Premier.
The man on the receiving end agrees.
Doug Ford hasn't had to go looking for a job in a while. He has no clue the difficulties that people are facing.
The legislature in such a state of chaos, security ordered the public out on a bill that skipped committee hearings.
People's voices do need to be heard.
Worried more renters will lose their homes.
Well, I heard it in the House today for sure, but I don't agree with it because we're creating balance in the landlord-tenant system.
The bill shortens the grace period for a tenant who missed rent before they can be evicted.
We're talking about big property managers who are getting rich off of these schemes, and they're the ones who are going to profit.
But small-scale landlords insist they need help.
I've had landlords call me crying because of a tenant that has not only did not pay rent for months and knows how to avoid the eviction, they also damaged the property.
Opposition parties say this bill does nothing to solve serious problems between landlords and tenants.
All it does is it points the finger at every single renter and tenant, of whom the vast majority are acting in good faith.
Frustration and fear that exploded into the open.
I understand why people are upset, because they're desperate, because they can't afford to live in Doug Ford's Ontario.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Time now for a short break here on CTV News. Coming up, Rick will have your full weather forecast. For now, look at the weather warnings we have in place tonight. And would you look at that whole area in blue, a winter storm warning. Now, we have areas near Temiskaming and Moosonee. They're looking at about 15 to 25 centimeters. That might exceed 25 in some areas. Kapuskasing, Wawa, Chapleau, just about everywhere else, 25 to 35 centimeters. That could exceed 40 in parts northeast of Lake Superior. Be careful out there. That's again going to start Tuesday and carry on through Thursday. This is a look at the current conditions. We are seeing some light flurry action already under Wawa and Chapleau. 2 degrees in Timmins. It's a lot warmer than it should be this time of night. 6 in Gore Bay, 6 in Parry Sound. We'll have details coming up after the break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Welcome back to winter. It's almost here in some parts of northeastern Ontario. We've got a winter storm watch as issued by Environment Canada for areas like Timmins, Kapuskasing, Cochrane, Moosonee, and Wawa. Some details coming up momentarily. Here's the band of precipitation moving in by, well, tomorrow evening. More snow to the north, rain to the south, and anywhere from 25 to 40 centimeters of snow for those areas as issued by Environment Canada. 7-day forecast numbers now. Rain to the south. Here we go. Showers on Tuesday, rain Wednesday. Chance of flurries on Thursday. Some cloud cover for a couple of days. Friday and Saturday, again, the chance of flurries come Sunday. Normally, you should be sitting at around -1, but take a look at the variation in temperatures from warm, cooling down to -4 and -6. Meanwhile, in Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, rain tomorrow. Rain-snow mix on Wednesday, Thursday, flurries and snow squalls. So you'll get some blowing snow in the Sault and more accumulation than first expected. -1 your high. Chance of flurries on Friday, chance of flurries on Saturday. More of the same on Sunday. Your high of -2, which is still below normal for this time of the year. Here we go with Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing. Starts off with flurries and drizzle tomorrow. Snow starts by tomorrow evening. Snow Wednesday, periods of snow Thursday, chance of flurries Friday, chance of flurries Saturday, and more of the same come Sunday. Some of those temperatures, well, getting colder, -6 and -9, even -11 in a week's time. Temiskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake, Drizzle rain for tomorrow, rain snow mix Wednesday, chance of snow Thursday, chance of flurries, cloud cover, more flurry activity, and again your normal -2, but take a look at the temperatures. You go from 4 degrees to -8, -6, and -7 in a week's time. Now North Bay, West Nipissing, showers for tomorrow at 60%, periods of rain Wednesday, chance of flurries on Thursday, some cloud cover for a couple of days to kickstart your weekend at -3 and -6. Then the chance of flurries come Sunday at -3. So again, still below normal at -1. The snow is coming, Ian. More snow to the north and rain to the south. That winter storm watch as issued by Environment Canada. Back to you.
Yeah, definitely something to watch. Keep an eye on that, everyone. Well, in other news, provincial funding has opened up new training opportunities for paramedics in the north. Confederation College in Thunder Bay and Collège Boréal in Sudbury are partnering to increase advanced training for already certified professionals. The new partnership provides training opportunities for practicing paramedics in a virtual reality lab and state-of-the-art ambulance simulator. It's part of the Advanced Care Paramedic program.
There's been a lack of education for advanced care paramedics for the last few years in Sudbury. The only program left in the north was Confederation up in Thunder Bay. So the demand is getting higher and higher from service operators locally. So therefore, we decided to team up with Thunder Bay, and we're using their program, but here at Collège Boréal in Sudbury.
And we've recently been authorized to get advanced care paramedics. So I applied to the program to be able to have more skills and have more life-saving abilities on the island in my home community.
Each student in the advanced care program has already completed at least 1,000 hours as a primary paramedic and will take new life-saving skills home to their communities after completing the one-year program. Visitations now being restricted at St. Joseph's General Hospital in Elliott Lake following an outbreak of VRE. Vancomycin-resistant enterococci, or VRE, is a bacteria that spreads from patient to patient through contact. Vancomycin is an antibiotic prescribed to treat serious infections. VRE can survive for long periods of time on surfaces like toilet seats. It's naturally found in intestines and urinary tracts. Along with enhanced protection measures, hospital officials say they are now restricting visitors to essential care partners. This is HIV Awareness Week and an initiative in Sudbury called Bundle Up in Red. Red scarves are being tied to lampposts around the city with a focus on the downtown to try and end the stigma surrounding HIV testing. CTV's Lindsay Alick reports.
Mayor Paul Lefebvre adds a scarf to a light post. This is one of 300 red scarves that will be put up across Sudbury to provide warmth, education, and reduce stigma.
Folks can live long, healthy lives being HIV positive, and getting to a undetectable viral load is very possible.
I tested positive in 2001 and got a treatment right away and achieved an undetectable viral load right away, which is important because I did not want to be one of those that spread the virus unknowingly.
Goff says he feels it's important that everyone knows their status and gets tested. Meantime, Pellin adds she wants people to consider their risk factors.
How they can protect themselves, you know, are they someone who would want to go on PrEP, which is something someone takes, someone who is HIV negative takes to protect themselves should they come into contact with HIV.
According to data from the HIV in Canada report published in 2023, new diagnoses in Canada increased by more than 35% in 2023 compared to 2022, with 2,434 newly diagnosed people. The Bundle Up in Red campaign is just the first of week-long events leading up to World AIDS Day on December 1st, when Ray Zoe will host a vigil here at the library at 5:30 p.m. honoring those who have died by HIV-related causes. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
A Sudbury doctor was recently recognized for his significant contributions locally and nationally. The Ontario College of Family Physicians honored Dr. Tom Crichton with a Regional Family Physician of the Year award, Northeast Region. The peer-nominated award is recognition of outstanding patient care, leadership, advocacy, research, and commitment to education. Crichton has practiced in his hometown for more than 3 decades and says he loves his job largely to his patients.
They go through various important things with their health. You help them with it, you help their families with it, you see their families grow. Sometimes you see very sad things, but it's just been a tremendous honor to sort of be able to do that work and to be with people and to be with them for a long time. Family medicine, in my view, is the only area in medicine where you get that.
Crichton was one of 13 doctors awarded for various achievements. Congratulations. Still ahead tonight on CTV News. Santa Claus makes a big return to the north. We'll take you to some of the big parades he hit up after this. A Northern Health unit is recognizing Radon Action Month by urging all homeowners to test for the radioactive gas. Public Health Sudbury and District says radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas. While small amounts are normal and found everywhere, the gas poses a significant health risk when it accumulates inside homes and enclosed spaces. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless and can only be detected through specialized testing.
Getting testing is the only way to confirm that the presence of radon and at what levels, right? So there are a variety of different types of testing, digital ones as well as traditional testing methods, and they each have their purpose. So what we're recommending based on Health Canada guidance is the long test. So that is the test that takes at least 3 months and is recommended to do during the heating season.
Rangers says September to April is the ideal time to test, and tests can be found at most hardware stores or can be ordered online. Well, it's been another incredible drive to keep Sudburyans warm this winter. Pure Country 91.7 with help from Palladino Auto Group wrapped up another successful Coats for a Cause campaign. The crew collected around 1,000 coats, toques, scarves, and mittens to help Better Beginnings, Better Futures children and families are now able to keep warm this winter. Well, we have an update to a story we brought you recently about a shift worker turned baker from Northern Ontario who was showcasing his skills on a national televised competition.
Do something, so let's bake.
Ryan Gridzak from Sault Ste. Marie was a top 3 finalist in the Great Canadian Baking Show and was vying for the prestigious title of Star Baker. Gridzak was the first person to represent Northern Ontario in the series and won 3 consecutive technical challenges, including in last night's Season 9 finale. While the Algoma Steel worker was beat by Vancouver event planner Joe Mondet for the top prize, he says he's grateful to have made it that far.
I was trying to describe it last night to a few people because I had similar questions, and it's a very overwhelming feeling. It's happy, it's sad, it's bittersweet because it's been the last year of my life, my family's life. So for it to all come to an end last night, it's kind of sad, but the experience was amazing. The people I met, the support was incredible. So very, very humbled.
Gridzak says he doesn't know what's next, but says baking will continue to be one of his passions. Well, the annual Santa Claus Parade in Sault Ste. Marie took place on the weekend. The yearly event returned to its classic path on Queen Street this year after a brief detour in 2024. Hundreds braved rainy weather to see the displays of lights and holiday themes. And of course, all stayed until they were able to get a glimpse of jolly old St. Nick. This edition of the Rotary Santa Claus Parade featured 55 registered floats, one of the largest in the event's history. We spoke with some attendees on what brings them back every year.
We like to see Santa and just see the community decorating their floats.
Yeah, the kids enjoying themselves. That brings the Christmas spirit.
It really does.
Hey, we like handing out candy and helping. It's my first year at the Santa Parade, but it's really fun, and my school's floats here, so that's good.
I came here before just to be here on the sidewalk and stuff, but I've never really handed out things, and it feels really good.
This is my second time here. I came here before with my friend, but I'm really excited to be here because Christmas is my favorite holiday.
Meanwhile, the Sudbury Santa Claus Parade was also Saturday. Almost 70 floats were entered in this year's parade, including Pure Country and CTV. Our news team even had a special appearance by Clark Griswold in the front seat. This year's theme being movies, of course. Thousands of people lined the streets to share in the Christmas spirit. Check out the amazing floats entered this year. And of course, give a smile and a wave to the big man himself. I know I was part of that team, and it was so awesome to see everyone down there. I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as we did. That takes us to the end of our newscast this Monday night. For the latest news anytime, remember you can head to our website, CTVNewsNorthernOntario.ca. You can also download our CTV News app. Thanks for watching. Good night.